Okay, we're going to continue on in our Father's Word today. It's kind of chilly here in North Florida. We had some cold weather for the last 3 days. And so you're going to have to bundle up. We got an Arctic blast. But it's going to warm up over the weekend and it'll be nice. We might get another shower. We got a nice rain yesterday. So it's chilly though. Every time a cold front comes through, it seems like we get a little bit of rain and a lot of clouds. But it's been dry here in North Florida for the most part all winter long. Okay, this is Matthew chapter 17. Now after 6 days, Jesus took Peter, James, and John, his brother, and led him up on a high mountain by themselves. And he was transfigured before them. His face shone like the sun, and his clothes became white as the light. And behold, Moses and Elijah appeared to them, talking with him. Now, Malachi 4 tells us that Elijah's going to be one of the two witnesses. But we don't know if it's going to be Moses or Enoch. God took both of them. And it could be Moses or it could be Enoch. Now, we're not sure for certain, but let me read you Revelation 11 about the two witnesses. And I was given a reed like a measuring rod, and the angel stood saying, "Rise and measure the temple of God, the altar and those who worship there. But leave out the court which is outside the temple, and do not measure it. For it has been given to the Gentiles, and they will tread the holy city underfoot for 42 months. But the time was reduced from 42 full moons. All God's prophecy involving Satan or of the moon, it was shortened to 5 full moons. Revelation 9 tells us twice the time of the locust. May, June, July, August, and September. Not necessarily those months, but the time of the locust is 5 months. And I will give you power to my two witnesses, and they will prophesy 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth. These are the two olive trees. Olive, El, means oil. It also means God. The sons of oil, the sons of God. And the two lampstands standing before the God of the earth. And if anyone wants to harm them, fire proceeds from their mouth and devours their enemies. And if anyone wants to harm them, he must be killed in the same manner. These have power to shut heaven so that no rain falls in the days of their prophecy. And they have power over waters to turn them into blood and to strike the earth with all plagues as often as they desire. Now the two witnesses will be killed right before 777, the last trump, during 666. You got 5 full moons of Satan pretending to be God over there in Jerusalem, the abomination of desolation. Spoken of by Daniel the prophet. That's Mark 13, where you can read it in Mark also. So, Satan's going to be over there for 5 full moons, pretending to be God, the abomination of desolation. And the two witnesses, so watchers watch. The two witnesses come 10 days before 666. And then they are killed in an arena in Jerusalem by Satan. And on the third day, the 3.5 days, then they never buried them. They left them right where Satan killed them in that arena. And all of a sudden on the third day, they started to rise. And when that happens, that's when the real Jesus comes, the 7th trump. 1 Corinthians 15:52. In a twinkle of an eye, at the last trump, the 7th trump. The time 7 means spiritual completeness. 6 means the time of the Antichrist. 5 means grace. 3 means 3 in 1, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And 40 is used a lot, and that means probation. Now let's read Matthew 17. And Moses and Elijah appeared to them, talking with him. Now this is why I think it'll be Moses and not Enoch, but it could possibly be Enoch. Then Peter answered and said to Jesus, Lord, is it good for us to be here? If you wish, let us make the 3 tabernacles, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah. While he was still speaking, behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them. And suddenly a voice came out of the cloud, saying, This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Hear him. And when the disciples heard it, they fell on their faces and were greatly afraid. But Jesus came and touched him and said, Arise, do not be afraid. When they had lifted up their eyes, they saw no one but Jesus only. Now as they came down from the mountain, Jesus commanded them, saying, Tell the vision to no one, until the Son of Man is risen from the dead. And his disciples asked him, saying, Why then do the scribes say that Elijah must come first? And Jesus answered and said to them, Indeed, Elijah is coming first, and will restore all things. But I say to you that Elijah has come already, and they did not know him, but did to him whatever they wished. John the Baptist came in the spirit of Elijah. He wasn't Elijah, a reincarnated Elijah. He was in the spirit of Elijah. Likewise, the Son of Man is about to go suffer at their hands. Then the disciples understood that he spoke of them of John the Baptist. And when they had come to the multitude, a man came to him, kneeling down to him and saying, Lord, have mercy on my son, for he is an epileptic and suffers severely. For he often falls into the fire and often unto the water. So I brought him to your disciples, but they could not cure him. Then Jesus answered and said, O faithless and perverse generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I bear with you? Bring him here to me. And Jesus rebuked the demon, and it came out of him, and the child was cured from that very hour. Then the disciples came to Jesus privately and said, Why could we not cast it out? So Jesus said to them, Because of your unbelief. For assuredly, I say to you, if you have faith of a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, Move from here to there, and it will move, and nothing will be impossible for you. However, this kind does not go out except by prayer and fasting. Now while they were staying in Galilee, Jesus said to them, The Son of Man is about to be betrayed into the hands of men, and they will kill him, and the 3rd day he will be raised up. And they were exceedingly sorrowful. When they had come to Capernaum, those who received the temple tax came to Peter and says, Does your teacher not pay the temple tax? And he said, Yes. And when he had come into the house, Jesus anticipated him, saying, What do you think, Simon? From whom do the kings of the earth take customs or taxes? From their sons or from strangers? And Peter said to him, From strangers. And Jesus said to him, Then the sons are free. Nevertheless, lest we offend them, go to the sea, cast out a hook, and take the fish that comes up first. And when you have opened his mouth, you will find a piece of money. Take that and give it to them for me and you. Now this is the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 18. At that time the disciples came to Jesus, saying, Who then is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? Then Jesus called a little child to him, set him in the midst of them, and said, Assuredly, I say to you, unless you are converted and become as little children, you will by no means enter the kingdom of heaven. Therefore, whoever humbles himself as this little child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven.